Fortnite have ruined my account. I like to be really positive in life and my videos in general, but today we will be a little bit negative, explaining why my account's ruined, some other people's accounts are ruined, and the big dilemma that Fortnite currently has, and an issue that it's been fighting for months and months and months. So I want to gauge something down below in the comment section. If you're watching this video and you do play Fortnite, hit that thumbs up button. That's all I want to know. I want to get an idea of how many of you guys out there are still playing Fortnite, new or old, so hit that like button to get an idea of just how many of you are still playing. To really understand why my Fortnite account is ruined and what is going on, we are going to look at the success and the popularity of Fortnite over the 2 years, just over 2 years it's been around. We can see its launch here, and then a huge build up with the inclusion of seasons, battle passes, and multiple updates, seeing an unreal first year for Fortnite with many seasons ranging from season 1 to about season 4 or 5 of just massive success, loads of players, and everyone loving the game. However, as you can tell from the graph, with a steadily declining interest all the way to the point here of Season X, where it's been at its lowest point ever, even lower than when Fortnite was entering some of its very first seasons. Epic Games had a huge problem that they needed to address to implement to try and save Fortnite. Here was their issue. If you've been playing Fortnite at any point during the beginning and any time for the first year, the skill difference between the very top players and somebody that may be picking the game up for the very first time wouldn't be too dramatic. You could probably hide in a bush and get away with even reaching top 10. I know my brother even won just by hiding in a bush, didn't even shoot a single bullet, and the final guy fell off his sky base. You didn't have to have the greatest skill in the world to compete in any of the Fortnite modes and have some fun. However, as the game moved into its second year of being out, and some of those players that had been around from the beginning started playing more and more and more, tons of different settings were added in to allow you to get better and better and better, the skill gap started to increase, and those players that didn't put quite as much time in, or those new players that were picking up Fortnite for the very first time in some of the later seasons, were just getting dominated by the players that were really good, and as a result they were not sticking around anymore and just gave up on playing Fortnite. Whereas a player like me, and maybe many of you guys out there who had been playing all the way since the beginning or for many seasons and had stuck around, it's probably because you put a lot of time into the game, you played with your friends a lot, and as a result your skill level was pretty good. Despite the fact that millions of players were still playing, a lot of those newer players were coming in and not playing for very long at all and just leaving straight away. With a lot of hype surrounding Season X, with a lot of OG places returning, Fortnite alongside that decided to add one of their most controversial additions to the game to try and counter those new players that weren't playing very much, and that was the addition of the mech. We all know how that went down. It was hated, but Fortnite would not remove it as they stuck to their guns, because for them, the mechs were essentially a way for new players to get easy kills, jump in with their friends, and feel like they were getting some action in the core game modes, even if it meant shooting out of a robot rather than using an actual gun. Obviously, the mechs completely flopped. It just killed the momentum of Season 10. No one really liked them, apart from maybe those few players, but even that wasn't enough to keep the new players from sticking around. So as we progress towards the end of Season 10, and obviously now into Fortnite Chapter 2, Fortnite implemented their biggest, most drastic changes ever to reverse the declining numbers into positive numbers, and along come two big additions. One that's been covered here many times on the channel and talked about a lot, and everyone will have experienced because they're in the very first game of Fortnite Chapter 2 you play. It's bots, literally AI controlled bots. These guys don't aim very well, they don't do anything very well, and are pretty much free kills to fill in those lobbies with some worse players, so that those new players have something to shoot again that feels like a human, are still using their guns, are still having to build, and still having to do normal Fortnite things rather than being a robot, and as a result it makes those newer players and those worse players be able to play those core modes and actually feel like they're doing something. However, if you had a new player, some bots, and then the best player in the world all in one lobby, there wouldn't be any reason to fill it with bots to help out those new players, because the good players are going to come along and crush everyone anyway. And that's the second implementation of skill-based matchmaking. Again, something I've talked about loads here on the channel. Skill-based matchmaking, essentially when you go and hit find a game, it uses part of your skill as a part of the matchmaking process to decide which lobby you're going to go into. Before the addition of skill-based matchmaking, it was fully random. You could have somebody that had never played a game and somebody that had played 1,000 games all in one lobby. Now, skill-based matchmaking was actually implemented towards the end of Season X, and although I felt my lobbies definitely fill up with better skilled players, it wasn't too bad. However, with both bots and skill-based matchmaking together, this is where we see the ultimate downfall of my Fortnite account. With the addition of helping all those low-level players, my account, which Fortnite considers to be an account with a lot of wins and a lot of playtime, has essentially been completely ruined because solos is almost unplayable and every single game is essentially a full-on sweat fest, even though it's not arena. Having done some testing already here on the channel, you'll see that a new account will get those worse lobbies and filled with bots. And I've done some testing on my main account where I've showed you guys, I've gone into public lobbies with 0 bots at all. And if I look at some of their statistics, they've got 10, 12, 15, 20% win ratios. They are far better than I am. And I've put a lot of time into the game and I'm above average. I'm not the best, but I'm above average. And my lobbies now are very much skewed in a way where only good players are ever put in my games. I want to know from you guys, how is your Chapter 2 experience? Are you in that camp where you're loving it because actually you're getting some really good lobbies with bots, with other low-level players, or players that feel like, you know what, you can take them on? Or are you feeling a little bit like me right now, where your lobbies are just insanely hard and it feels like a sweat fest? Now, although I feel like skill-based matchmaking is ruining my account, luckily at the moment, skill-based matchmaking is limited to just solos. It hasn't been fully implemented in duos, and I don't even think it's been touched in squads yet. Those are just random games with any players put in there. However, as somebody that literally plays 99% solos, and you're used to seeing me play solos, it is now almost impossible to get the kind of content that I like to get for you guys, because I'm basically playing a competitive arena mode because of skill-based matchmaking in solos. Now, whenever issues arise, I like to view them from both sides, and I'm really glad that newer players are jumping back on Fortnite, having a lot of fun, and are interested in the game. That's only good for me as somebody that is making content for more people to be getting back into Fortnite, watching my videos, getting involved. I totally appreciate that for you guys. My issue comes with the fact that skill-based matchmaking is too aggressive on the accounts that they think are really, really good. Before Chapter 2 came out and it was a little bit more evened out, we didn't have the bots to fill in those lower level lobbies, so you get more mixture of lobbies. However, with the lower players being able to fill all of their lobbies with bots, they never even touch those upper level lobbies, and as soon as you start getting elevated to them, you'll know because you won't see any of those bots. I feel personally, if you want to jump into some super sweaty games and know that you're going to be playing against a load of people of your exact skill level, that is what Arena is there for. Arena is literally there for you to try really hard, sweat it out, sit in a box, only get a few kills, but maybe get that win. With public games, is all about being a little bit more loose, being a little bit more chill, and a battle royale inherently is literally 100 players of all ranges of skill thrown into a game to see who can last the longest. If you have put a lot of time into the game, then you are the best in that lobby and you're deserving of getting that win. But if you're filled with people that are basically playing scrims, it's taking away from what we're used to being the Battle Royale experience. Fortnite have almost flipped their problem with all of these new additions. They have actually come along and catered really well for all of those new players who are now sticking around and getting back involved, which is awesome, but are now damaging their more hardcore, long-term players that have stuck around for ages because the game is now just ridiculously hard suddenly overnight. One comment that I often hear people say when anybody complains about lobbies getting a little bit harder is, oh, well, just improve, just get better. But the thing is, if you get better and you start improving, all you're doing is then putting yourself into even better games with even better players, so your levels then match still, and you've improved for no reason. You've just improved to play even sweatier games. That's the issue of skill-based matchmaking, and the fact that you're only ever improving to play against better players, which is what Arena's meant to be. Now that all of these things are implemented, they're not going to change. The thing that I think Fortnite should do is widen that skill-based range so that it's not super limiting to just people that are exactly the same skill level as you, but widening it out a little bit. So those people that are just filled with bots get a little bit less bots, a little bit more real players. Towards the middle, you get a little bit better players, and then a few bots in there as well. Then towards the top, it actually has a range of almost everything going on there to feel more like a typical battle royale. At the moment, solos, if you see some solos on this channel and I'm doing well, you should be more impressed than ever. That is all I'm going to say. But it really is a tricky situation, and I just wanted to share my experience currently with you guys and vent a little bit and see what all of you guys were thinking as well, and to get a load of opinions down there in the comment section. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, I don't like to complain, and I'm always very positive, or I try and be really positive. But I just wanted to let you guys know you are not alone in feeling like lobbies are definitely quite tough right now. And Fortnite, if you want to pop a few actual bots in my lobbies, I would not complain. Send them my way. My lobbies are open for bots, don't worry. The good thing is this is only the beginning of Fortnite Chapter 2 with many updates and many changes coming to the world, coming to items, and no doubt coming to matchmaking as well. Fingers crossed Fortnite move in the right direction. I hope. Otherwise, I'm never playing solos again. That's a lie. I do love solos. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on matchmaking, bots, and everything that's new in Chapter 2. I will be going through the comments and having a read. If you've missed any of my recent videos, check them out on screen here to go and see them. Yes, it is Halloween at the moment, so amazing Halloween skins are coming to the store, so make sure you're using code ALIA. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.